Hi, and welcome to the League Show. My name's Anthony Bromley, Commissioner of the League, your current reigning champion, and manager of Who Ate All the Pies, if we're going after last year. I'm joined by Ben Chambers here.
Hello.
And by Adam and Josh on Satellite Link, because we can't name the video chat service.
Hello.
Hello.
So we've got quite a few topics to talk about tonight. Obviously, we've gone through a quarter of the season already. A lot's happened, a lot of transfers. We'll start it off with, first things first, Chris's meltdown, Adam.
Well, where do you start with that? I mean, it was full on Pardew headbutting David Mayer yesterday. He just seemed to completely lose the plot over very little.
Now, if anybody doesn't obviously know what we're going on about, this is Chris doing 2 trades in one go with myself and Jim, which has resulted in him having Aguero and Coleman, and then ending up with Vardy and Lloris. Josh, thoughts?
Well, me and the boys just finished training. We're coming back into the media studio, and my assistant says to me, "Have you seen the news?" I was like, "No, what's going on?" I see the news, I just shake my head, and that was me done. I had enough. It was just bizarre. Very bizarre.
Quite a surreal thing to wake up. I didn't quite believe it. Someone could be so stupid. First draft pick.
I mean, letting first draft picks go is a strange thing. The majority of us have done it, obviously myself with Sanchez, but you do feel you're getting a better player out of it. I mean, Adam, if I'm correct in saying you still have your first draft pick.
Yeah, that's right. I have my first 2 picks still intact, and I plan to stick with them because I think they'll be good in the long run.
And Josh, with yourself?
I got rid of David Silva for Eric Barley, who's now out for 2 months, but that was a long time ago.
I mean, at the time, seemed to say sensible transfer.
Yeah, but I've still got Petr Cech, one of the most consistent and better keepers in the league, so I'm happy with my decisions.
And yourself, Ben? And who was yours again, sorry? David De Gea. And you see, this is how the way first draft picks change. I believe Conrad's was Vardy, which obviously I ended up with, and have swapped off for Aguero, which, I'm blowing my own trumpet, is an amazing trade.
If I recall, you did Aguero off Chris last season.
I
did. An equally stupid transfer made by him.
I did, and it does seem to be, I'm going to be opinionated and say this, Jim and Chris are the 2 that don't seem to have transfers that go particularly well. Thoughts, boys?
Well, I'd say that this time, I think for the first time actually in 2 seasons, that Jim has actually done well business-wise. He's got a couple of solid plays in yesterday, and I think he's made a bit of a mug of some of the other managers.
Now, Josh, do you think that Jim can use these players, though? Do you think he'll actually be able to manage them in the right
look
spec?
at last season, you go back to where he signed the whole Chelsea side, and you think,
well, let's go for this. It wasn't necessarily a Chelsea side. He signed Mourinho's team. And he seems to be doing the same thing again.
He tried doing the same this season, I do believe, but he's somehow turned a corner and somehow snatched up Aguero, who arguably is the best player in the Premier League, for loose change. And it's a great signing for him, but it's whether he can get the best out of him, or whether he's dropped for Iheanacho, who's playing well at the moment.
He is playing well, but playing him in the right respects obviously is important. Sorry, Ben, continue.
I believe he signed a few Stoke defenders as well.
Last season. That is correct, he did sign.
Also, didn't go.
Yeah, he basically saw a team that had a good defence, signed about 3 of their defenders, and then I don't think they kept a clean sheet for 6 or 7 matches. I mean, the tactic is a strong one, but not necessarily one that works.
Tactic of desperation.
It is a bit of a tactic of desperation. Okay, moving on. So, injury crisis. It affects everyone, your best players out for however long, Adam, you've experienced it, with Harry Kane being out, obviously. I mean, you dealt with it seemingly, and you've done quite well since. How is that going to affect teams in future? Obviously, yourself, Josh, with Barley. What's your plans?
Well, last season I had Dimitri Payet, who had an injury for 3 months, and I stuck it out with him. He was my best player, and I kept him in the squad. And he came back and did me justice, got me a few points, vital points.
Now, Josh, you brought this up yourself, so we have to mention it.
Go for it.
The Payet incident. If Barley comes back fit and he's doubtful, is he getting played?
Wait there. What?
Josh has been called away. I think it's his assistant. Adam, we'll go to you.
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously you mentioned Harry Kane. This season, I feel like I have been a bit plagued with injuries. Giroud, obviously, as well. He's had this phantom toe injury for however long now, and it's cost me. I mean, I lost 3 games in a row. I managed to arrest that slide this week. So yeah, I mean, Kane's should be back hopefully either just before or just after the next international break, which is only a game or 2 away. So it's crossed he'll be back in amongst the goals again.
Okay, so we'll go same question to you then. If Kane's a 50-50, is he starting?
Oh yeah, without a question, he's starting. If he doesn't play, that's what your bench is for. Someone can come in and maybe someone like Daniel Sturridge who has already scored this evening, I believe.
Yeah, exactly. Sturridge has. Now, players like that I just want to touch on. Players that, the peripherals, your Janssens, your Sturridges. I mean, we all have a few of them. I mean, Ben, if you had to highlight a player that you think isn't being used to the potential that he could have been this season, who would you have in mind?
Paul Pogba, I think.
Paul Pogba is a big one. Obviously, biggest transfer in the world with £89 million.
I mean, it could only be a matter of time before he does click. Starts performing. Omens. No, just not happening.
See, a lot of pundits and a lot of sports writers are saying that Pogba just isn't built for this league. He could do what he did in Serie A because it was an easier league. He had a lot more time on the ball.
I'd
Now,
like to jump in there.
Yeah,
Paul
please do.
Pogba's best season is not as good as Aaron Ramsey's best season, which you'd think of out of it. Paul Pogba 89 million, Aaron Ramsey, Arsenal bench, and injured. You think that Aaron Ramsey has better stats in one season than Paul Pogba in a harder league? Just it doesn't add up to me.
Now, is that because the manager's not getting the best out of him, or is it just the actual quality of the player, do you think?
Obviously, Pogba's a quality player. Like, he was good at the Euros. He wasn't amazing. Obviously, he was in the shadow of Griezmann and Payet at times, but he was there. And just looking at him how he plays this season, he just doesn't look like he's there. He looks like he's off the page. Doesn't understand the Premier League yet, the physicality. Like, obviously, he's a big lad, but he's just not there yet. I mean, you took Didier Drogba a few months to get into the Premier League, and look at him. Look what he did.
Yeah, no, that is true. You were saying, Ben, it's the pressure. I mean, is it the price tag? Is it the team he's playing for? What sort of pressure?
Probably a mixture of all the above. A big price tag on his head. Ineos, but he always sort of business. He's now got a point to prove.
No. Okay, next topic. I believe
Team Jim.
No. We'll touch on Team Jim. We'll go to Twitter soon. Just before, we have to talk about the outcry that was Chris having a bit of a meltdown after the transfers. I mean, we all saw it. It was kind of coming. I still think there's more to come. Thoughts?
Well, he's been arguing for the past couple of weeks that he has the best side in the league, and then trades half his team out. So I don't understand his thinking, really. It's like reverse psychology, but it's only backfired on him.
I think yesterday he seemed to have had a very long day. He made some questionable decisions, and then when people picked up on that, he immediately jumped to the defensive, and I'd say as far as going aggressive at sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Got quite personal at that.
He did.
Yeah,
Signed someone who has lost it, well and truly.
Now, Ben, getting personal and, being a manager that can't keep his cool. We've had managers in the Premier League. We've had managers in the Fantasy League that have done it before. They've ended up leaving the club pretty soon.
I mean, classic Mourinho.
It is. Or Ratman.
Or Ratman.
I mean, is Chris on the way out? Can you see the owners getting rid of him anytime soon?
It's a tough one. Because he doesn't want to lose. He knows if he leaves, we win.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't want that. I think could possibly happen.
Okay. Now, as Ben mentioned before, Team Jim. It's a hashtag that's been going on for about a month now. We still don't know where it originated. We can't find the original Twitter account. But as you can see, we've hundreds and hundreds of tweets here. Team Jim. Jim is the greatest. Hashtag Team Jim. We even have a few tweets from football reporters.
From Marcus Smith here. I really would like to know what Chris was smoking this weekend. If you have anyone spare, let me know, mate. Hashtag Jim,
From Sergio Aguero himself.
the main man.
I love hearing that everybody wants me in fantasy football, but I'll always be forever yours. Hashtag one team player. Hashtag Team Jim.
From Christian Driver. Just came across the fantasy football page. Traded Aguero for Vardy. Madness. Whoever Jim is, good luck to you. Hashtag Team Jim.
Obviously another reporter that hasn't got the full scoop of the news, but effectively that was what the transfer was
As
in the
you can
end.
see, it is branching out.
We have a Derek Fisherman, obviously, a supporter somewhere. I believe he's an actual fisherman. Everybody in the fisherman household is supporting Jim. Together we stand. Hashtag Team Jim. A female fan of Jim, it seems.
Can't
First.
believe Jim got Aguero. Can't wait for him to beat Conrad this week. Hashtag Team.
And Mr. Big Mike Douglas. Haha, Chris, what were you thinking? Getting rid of Aguero. Lol, you pancake. Hashtag Team Jim. Now, obviously, the internet seems to be siding with Jim. Now, is this a defensive mechanism from everybody, trying to make him feel better for how he did last season? Or is it a genuine likability about the manager that, the fans are sticking with?
I think it's more of an underdog story. Finished bottom last this year. Very hard transfers. During this season.
I mean, Adam, Jim had his first win on the weekend. Sorry, not his first win, but his first time off the bottom of the table due to a win on the weekend, I believe. Is this a turnaround with the transfers that he's made?
I mean, he's achieved that without his transfers, so who knows what he can achieve now with these new players that he's brought in. I'm genuinely pleased for him. I just hope I hope it doesn't get to his head. We've had that before, where success has brought cockiness, arrogance, and then of course the inevitable bad run comes, and people have even gone as far as quitting the league on that kind of thing. So
No, that is true.
there is form.
Yeah, everybody has a bad run. I mean, I hope that mine is this quarter of the season and that soon things will turn around. Josh, you seem to be a mixed player. You'll have an amazing week one week and then lose substantially badly. I mean, what do you think?
What I find is that I'll have a good week, but the person I'm playing will have an even better week. And then you look at the scores, and I would be 90% of everyone else, apart from the one person who played me that week, which is annoying. But you have to, keep going with it. I was sixth from the draft last season, 7th this season. I have no expectations to win the league. The club has no desire to win the league, as we're just trying to solidify ourselves in mid-table.
Is there any progression you're looking for a cup, anything like that?
If it comes along, it comes along. But our main objective is to solidify ourselves mid-table and just keep it nice and easy, nice and consistent.
And same question to you, Ben. Obviously, second in the league. To the new Ben, who we'll touch on the new boys later on. How are you feeling up there? Are you confident you can stay?
Yeah, at the minute I've got a couple of injuries. Could get better. Run could end. A decent team. Probably not one of the best in terms of big name players, but I've got points.
Now, like I said before, obviously a quarter of the season's been played. Everybody's played each other once, so we are starting to see the table shape out. The most surprising thing I have to say, Adam, Ben, top of the table, last draft pick.
Yep.
I mean it's crazy. It is absolutely crazy. Is this because he's picked up players, that score key penalties, score key free kicks, assist, or is his squad just a very good squad? What do you think?
Well, I think you touched on it there. I think picking set piece takers is beneficial in the long run. I am surprised. I mean, everyone knows that I was a massive advocate that 10th pick had a massive disadvantage coming into the season, and that's been proved completely wrong. I'm happy it's been proved completely wrong. I think it's refreshing to see new players coming in and doing well. I do think he has strength in some areas, not so much in others. I think he could be doing with another striker, maybe. All it takes is the goals to dry up and the points to dry up, and then things could change. But at the moment, I think fair play. It's going really well for him.
Oh, that's good. And Josh, what do you think the biggest surprise so far is? Obviously, the champion myself being bottom and 10th draft pick being first. The table isn't really shaping up the way that the draft looked like it would. I mean, is that what you would say is most surprising? Or
I would, yeah. Like, obviously, you look at the table, you think first draft pick Chris, second was, I believe, who was it? Jim. You think those two would be top, running away with it essentially with their advantage in picks. But you look at the table, Chris is struggling mid-table, Jim's down the bottom, and Ben's just, I wouldn't say lucky, but he's got players who are performing well at the moment, like James Milner. And even Tom Heaton, and they just threw him up the order because of their performances.
Well, this is the thing that people are forgetting, though, obviously. It's more how your players perform rather than what they actually do. A clean sheet is great, but if it's a clean sheet and the keeper doesn't touch the ball, compared to letting one in but makes 20 saves.
Exactly, Burnley conceded this weekend and they still got 9 points, did Tom Heaton.
Exactly. I mean, fair play to Tom Heaton, obviously future England goalkeeper, and
I wouldn't say
we wish him all the best.
He is over 30 at the moment, so I wouldn't say that.
Well, we wish him all the best in future, anyway.
Yeah.
So, Adam, I have to ask: transfer so far of the season. We know the ones that Chris has done in the past, but if there's one that you had to pin out so far, which one would it be?
I mean, that's really tough. I think because there's nobody. I mean, I think I'm right in saying there is nobody that is in such bang form that has made a difference. I'd say I'd be more tempted to say the people that have kept hold of players are actually doing better than the ones that have traded. I think
that is true.
That probably stands to reason.
Yeah, mainly at the moment, would I be correct in saying, Ben, that it's defenders. Clean sheets are so rare this season. It seems the defenders are really winning people points.
There's a lot of goals being scored. There was a match I lost to Gaz. Oh, in the last game. 2 clean sheets, I believe. Game.
And that's where 7 points can be absolutely integral. So, all fair to be, Chris's plan of building from the back is understandable. When you have Vardy, who's scored, I believe, less goals than Arsenal has this season. Never mind that. Sorry, I apologise. Less goals than Koscielny this season. What are Chris's chances of climbing up the table at all, Adam? Now, do you think?
It does depend on the form of Jamie Vardy and ultimately Leicester. Because if Leicester are playing, then he's going to play. He's going to play well. But I said at the start, I think that Leicester would struggle this season to maintain that. They were always going to struggle to keep up with what they did last season. So yeah, I think it'd have been much better off keeping hold of Aguero for sure. And then once he made the trade for Ibrahimovic, he should have probably kept him as well, even though he's had a dip in form. So it is hard to say.
And Josh, do you think the Leicester situation is that because they're concentrating on Champions League football? What's your view on it?
I think this last season they overachieved, much like West Ham did last season. Look at how they're struggling, as well as Leicester. And I think they just overachieved. In the Champions League, I think they're concentrating more on the Champions League because obviously more revenue, more money for the club. So the further they go in the Champions League, and if they can keep survival in the Premier League, which I think they will, I think next season we could expect more from them, perhaps.
Well, seeing as we've talked about flops a bit, players that haven't been performing properly, I mean, you can name them all. You likes of Ibrahimovic and Pogba, Sturridge not even managing to start most matches for Liverpool. We'll just go around. Ben, who would you say the biggest flop of the season so far is?
I think it has to be the expectation on him. I mean, Josh did call it when will he score? I'll score. And he isn't scoring. They flop the season.
Pogba. Adam, same question. If you had to choose one.
Well, it's difficult. I mean, for me, I'd have to say Giroud. He's not even kicked a ball barely. So, as a pick for me, that's disappointing. again, like you've already mentioned Sturridge as well. I think it's between those two for potential that haven't done anything.
And Josh, being of the Giroud fan club, just a quick note before we ask your player.
Giroud's injured, isn't he? You know, he's been out with a toe injury, which is a bit suspect, but obviously, I don't think he'd even get in the team at the moment, how Arsenal are playing. Yes, they drew 0-0 with Middlesbrough, but they still look frightening. And I just don't see how Giroud fits into that side at the moment.
Okay, and if you had a nomination for flop of the season so far?
Well, it's got to be Pogba, hasn't it? No, 8 to 9 million, high expectations, done absolutely nothing. I mean, he's had one good game, and that was in the Europa League, so it doesn't really count. So, I don't know. Just hope we can see more from him.
It'd be good to see more from him. Obviously, what he did in Serie A was incredible, you know, top assists, and we'd love a player of that calibre in the Premier League. The only problem, it seems, is that United haven't bought a player of that calibre. Next question, then. Premier League table end of this season. Who's top? Ben?
You have to City. Most of the season, Pep wins. I think the teams around aren't their ability.
Good statement. Adam, would you agree with Ben that City will finish top?
Obviously, they're going for a slight rough patch at the minute. If they pick that up quickly, then probably. If not, I actually fancy Tottenham to do well this year, and I hope they do. It makes it interesting. It's a shame I have no Tottenham players in mind, but apart from Harry Kane, of course, but he's injured. So yeah, I think it'd be between City and Spurs this year.
And Josh, who do you fancy for the Premier League title this year?
Chelsea. They've turned it around under the 3-4-3 system. They look very good.
They do look very good.
Demolished Leicester United. I mean, they struggled against the start of the season. I mean, they lost 2-0 to Arsenal, but they've gone to the 3-4-3, which Conte loves. He's played it at Juventus and Italy, and they've just turned it around. They look a completely different side.
Diego Costa obviously found form again. Hazard seems to have lost a lot of weight and be coming back into it. Strange that nobody mentioned Liverpool with where they are currently in the table. Ben,
Liverpool, sorry, jump in there. They just conceded too many cheap goals. I mean, they looked really good, but they lost 2-0 to Burnley, who just sat back and defended and counter-attacked. So,
no, fantastic point.
They're a hit and miss side that they always have been for the past few years.
Yeah. We'll move with that.
I was just going to say that. Sorry, Anthony. I was just going to say exactly that. Josh, that I would have said Liverpool as well, but the losses to teams like Burnley, you just can't do that and win the league.
No, well, we'll move with that then. Ben, do you feel that Jurgen Klopp can get the best out of Liverpool? He's brought in 2 new centre backs, Klavan and Matip. Klavan struggling to find his form. Matip seeming to be actually a very good free transfer. Can Liverpool turn the season around and start getting some clean sheets? Do you feel?
I wouldn't say that. Going exactly how he would feel. Hasn't spent massive amount of money. Still trying to figure out where he needs to go. He's got some left backs. One. But I think if he finishes top 4, that's his aim. Title is his aim. At Dortmund, he built the team. He wasn't brought in to insult. He was brought in. I think.
And Adam, I mean, similar question. The reason I brought Liverpool up was because I have to say the answer to this is Liverpool. Most exciting team to watch this season.
Yeah, I do like watching Liverpool. I think they've got that extra dimension now with Mane out wide.
Obviously, one of your own players.
One of my own, of course. I mean, I have a strong Liverpool contingent in my team. I just think they're lacking that centre forward goal scorer. I think Sturridge isn't doing it, and Firmino is. I think he's more suited to be out wide than up the middle, personally. But yeah, with the goal scorer, I mean, they're exciting as they are anyway. But just imagine what they could be.
Yeah, no, exactly. And speaking of incoming goal scorers, Josh, obviously the rumours that Aguero could actually be leaving the Premier League, is that a worry for Jim? Obviously sounds like
it's
a
a worry
solid
for
transfer.
Jim and the Premier League itself. If you're looking for Aguero leaves, who's the next big player in the league? Obviously, you've got Kevin De Bruyne, but aside from him, there's no other one that stands out. You could say could break into Real Madrid or Bayern Munich or Barcelona's side. And the only
The name that is bouncing around, sorry to interrupt, is Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang from Dortmund. Apparently,
I mean, he played against Arsenal in the Champions League a couple of seasons ago and tore him a new one. But he looked fantastic, he looked quick, tall.
Same with Liverpool in the Europa League last year. I mean,
Yeah.
is he one of the new style strikers, the likes of Jamie Vardy, Ben? Do you think that fast-paced strikers that break from behind are the new style rather than your big strong ones?
It does seem to be looking like changing. Some teams are adapting.
Anyway, to bring this back to fantasy, because I got very serious for a couple of minutes then. Josh, your mum jokes. I mean, do you have a book of them? Do you jot them down when you think of them? Where do these come from?
People just line themselves up for it and they get bang straight in there with a mum joke.
I mean, Adam gets brunt of them.
Adam does get the brunt.
Like
Is that because Adam's mum is an easy target, or do you enjoy
I enjoy
doing
Adam's mum, yeah.
Adam's mum?
I enjoy Adam's mum, yeah. Jane's a lovely
Adam, any retort to that?
No comment.
Okay. So we'll move on to the fixtures next week. Adam, I believe, do you have them in front of you?
You believe right in a minute. You will believe right in a minute. Yeah.
Okay. While we're waiting for them, Josh, Jim's incoming video. Obviously, there's going to be returning the mentions of the transfers. Obviously, Conrad's and Massey's video. I mean, what do you think this is going to entail? Is this going to be an expose on the manager?
I think it'd be a bit of a comic relief. I think it'd be brilliant, to be fair. I think it'd be humorous. We all know how Jim is, and I think it'd be a right laugh because he addressed the points he's going to address in his post, and I just want to see the video.
And Adam, do you have fixtures?
I do, yes.
Okay, so the fixtures this week, just in case anybody doesn't know, are going to be as follows.
Well, the man himself, Jim, is playing Conrad this week. Massey plays the deluded Chris. Myself plays top of the league, Ben. Other Ben plays Gaz, and Anthony plays Josh.
Okay, well, we'll start with the top one there. So that was Jim versus
Conrad.
Josh, how do you feel that match is going to play out?
You look at Jim's new signings, obviously. Aguero. Obviously, only Aguero. You have to think he's been through a bit of bad form. Will he start? Will Iheanacho start? I mean, he looked good when he came off the bench, did Iheanacho?
Well, yeah, Iheanacho, I believe, is 17 shots this season with 11 goals,
exactly,
which is an incredible record.
And with Conrad, he's due a win. I mean, he's got a good side. He's not got a bad side. He's just been unfortunate in his results. So you have to think he's going to. Both of them need a win. So obviously a draw would be fair, but they're very rare. So I'm going to have to side with Conrad. I think he's got a better side overall. Jim's rebuilding at the moment, so I'm going with Conrad there.
And Ben, Massey versus Chris.
I mean, normally you would say Chris. He's let some key players go. Massey, players well.
Massey, who we have to make mention of, drafted like we thought a complete idiot. Picking up Iheanacho and Rashford, but those players he has played, and they've come off the bench and scored and won in matches.
Yeah. Turned some heads when kind of questionable picks paying off.
And Adam, yourself against Gaz, is it? Sorry.
Ben, top of the league, Ben.
Top of the league. You're top of the league away at top of the league, I believe.
Yes.
How's that going to fare for you this weekend? I mean, is it a change of tactics? Are you feeling more aggressive?
Hard to say. I mean, the new boys have come in this season, Ben and Conrad, and they're a bit of an unknown quantity. Ben's obviously done very well. I think he is due a bad week, personally. He has had a lot of strong scores. His goal difference alone suggests that. I think he may be due a bad week. I'm just picking back up again, so I think it's going to be very close. It's very tough, but I am hoping to maybe sneak a very narrow victory this week.
And I'm going to group me and Josh and Ben and Gaz, I believe it is, into one. Obviously, two teams neck and neck next to each other, 3 points in it. You look at the point totals, there's 20, 30 points in it. You know, the table itself, there's 60 points from top to bottom. That's 1 week's worth of points there, you know. How do you think matches like this are going to come out? I mean, if we go back to Adam first, just how do you think these integral matches are going to see to the end of the season?
Well, they are the crucial ones, aren't they? I mean, obviously yourself, you need to win. Probably due when you've had some decent scores and not quite got the results. Like as Josh is consistent. These kind of games are going to shape the table come the end of the season. There's no doubt about that. And Ben and Gaz again. You know, Gaz has had a really good season. We weren't sure what he was going to do this year. Drafted well. Costa's played well for him. So again, I think both games could literally go anyway. So that's what's good about it.
And Ben, how do you feel? Obviously, Gaz is 3 points behind you. If he does get a win, points totals could have him leap over you. I mean, is that something that goes into your mind coming up to this weekend?
Not really. I think it's about guys to player points me this season. I think it's unbelievable.
I mean, we have to make mention. I feel everybody drafted fantastically. You know, by the end of the draft, you know, everyone had a very strong team. Never mind just a very strong 11. Obviously, first picks are first picks, but you know they do change. I mean, Josh, who's your key player for the season now?
I've said it for months. Moussa Dembele is fantastic. He got 7 points the other day from a midfielder, and how you only get 7 points if you play well. So obviously he controls the game, and obviously I just find him to be brilliant when he plays. Whenever he plays, he gets consistent points between 5 and 10, no matter who he plays against. So he is arguably my key player if he stays fit, because he is quite injury prone.
No, and Adam, same question.
Well, again, this is depending on injuries, but it depends how Harry Kane comes back from his injury. If he comes back like last season's Harry Kane, then he will without doubt be the key player. If not, if he struggles, if it reoccurs, then I'm looking at the likes of Mane and Payet to step up. They've also done well for me so far this season, so yeah, it's but probably Kane. I'm gonna.
And Ben, key player of the season for yourself.
It has to be. Third this season for points totals.
I mean, we have to just mention that free kick against Arsenal. There's a reason that Coutinho is called a magician. You know, sheer moment of brilliance. Obviously, myself, it has to be Kevin De Bruyne. Obviously, it's too soon to see if Ibrahimovic is going to be a good transfer. I do believe that Mourinho will get the best out of him, and especially a side like Burnley, big strong defender. A big strong striker. I think will trouble them. I think we are more or less ready to wrap this up. I just want to pass it over and see if you have any questions for obviously ourselves, Adam, Josh.
Well, I'd just like to get your take on the commissioner situation before we go. Obviously, the last few weeks you have been inactive with it. What is your stance? What are your plans for future? And will you be stepping aside permanently?
Well, my plans for the commissioner were this is kind of how I wanted it to be run. I didn't want to dictate things, and obviously you'll know yourself and Josh after helping me out with it while I was on holiday, and then also carrying on since then. It is a lot of work to do the fixtures, do the transfers, you know, keep everything running smoothly. Obviously, having one person do the transfers or one person do the points helps a lot, and then the rest of it should be a votable democracy. You know, it is people can input opinions, and then we vote on those opinions from there, which is how it is being at the moment, and it is working fantastically. Obviously, I've started to come back into it a bit more in the last few weeks. Obviously, I took a step back, was on holiday, and then continue to be on vacation commissioner wise, and I'd like to thank you for your services during that point, Adam, and obviously the points also, right. Josh.
Just a quick follow-up question to that. What do you think about the abuse basically that you get as commissioner? if you're 5 minutes late and you'd think the world's ended, it's it is tough.
You have to take it on the chin, don't you? You have to realise that you are effectively
Like Josh's
running.
mum, really.
Yeah, you are effectively running the league. You are the bread and butter and the soul that not keeps it together, but formed it. And I'd like to believe that no one person could run it by themselves. Even when I was doing the points and everything, I needed your help to double check them, things like that. And I think how we have things at the moment is not too much of a pressure on anybody to run, and it's working for everybody. Yeah. Okay. I believe that's all for this week then. Well, obviously, I think this is sort of become a once-a-year thing, so we might have to either wait another year or change the aspect of this show. But for now, that's good night from myself, a good night from Ben,
Good night.
Adam,
Good night.
and from Josh.
Good night.
Good night.